Hi, I'm Diane Sweeney, and I wanted to just welcome you to this short video. And I just wanted to do a little bit of an introduction. Here you'll hear from an assistant principal who works in a school in Los Angeles, California. This is the Environmental Charter School. It's a network of charter schools that have been implementing student-centered coaching for some time. And they have a lot of experience. And it came through when I got to work with Danny, who you'll be hearing from in a minute, because Danny got to experience student-centered coaching as a teacher in the school, and now he's experiencing it as an assistant principal. So you'll get to hear both perspectives from Danny. First, you'll hear how did he find value in partnering with a coach using the methods for student-centered coaching, specifically a coach who was using the results-based coaching tool and our other resources that we advocate to be used to anchor coaching cycles. The other second part of the clip, you'll hear from Danny as he speaks to how he uses some of these practices as an assistant principal and how he specifically builds relationships with teachers, even as an evaluator, in a way that creates space for coaching because he believes in it so much. So you'll get to hear from Danny as he shares how these practices for student-centered coaching have impacted his work at Environmental Charter School in Los Angeles.
Hi, my name is Danny Cristales. I'm the assistant principal at Environmental Charter Middle School in Inglewood, in California. And as a teacher, this was a few years ago, when I was coached in student-centered coaching, it was a revelation for me in my instructional practice. As a teacher, at the time that I was coached in student-centered coaching, I was 6 years into teaching. And as a veteran teacher, you now are in the groove and you have an understanding of who you are as a teacher. But there were still elements of student learning that I couldn't quite, one, name as the roadblocks of student learning. And then two, even if I were to name them, I was still unsure on what approaches or new strategies or instructional moves to make to be able to reach those students. And then voila, here came student-centered coaching. And the beauty of it all was, one, I never felt pressure about am I failing or being successful as a teacher. I just felt like, thank you for the grace and being able to look at my practice and look at student work and where students are at with a thought partner, which was really awesome because it allowed me to get better insight at where students were, name the roadblock, identify the roadblock, and it was an internal reflection on, okay, so here are the things that were missing in my practice that now I have a thought partner to talk it through and then guide me through it, observe me on how I'm doing it, and then give me feedback, and then we're still just going through the process of the impact this is having on student learning. And that changed my entire practice, and I wanted to continue getting coached because of how successful it was and has been in producing good quality student learning and outcomes and engagement in class, and the natural beauty, which I was not anticipating as a teacher after being coached, was just the student independence and agency that occurred as a result of that. And it was less work on me to have to worry about what's happening in the learning, and the students were just generating learning them amongst themselves because there were clear steps that I knew needed to happen based on student needs to ensure that students were going to authentically have that learning occurring naturally for themselves and amongst each other, because that's the whole point.
As we continue, you'll hear how Danny has structured his work to be able to integrate some of the practices for student-centered coaching into his AP role. And he just believes so much in the work that he feels teachers deserve this sort of support to make sure they're meeting their goals for student learning and to make sure they're implementing really highly effective instructional practices. So Danny shares some really great insights about how he sets himself up for success to be engaging in coaching, even as an evaluator, even as an administrator. We often get this question, so hopefully this supports our admin out there who are looking to provide coaching to teachers in their own way. And I think it's possible, but there are some considerations. And so listen up as Danny shares some of those. Thanks.
So now that I'm an assistant principal, it's a different dynamic, of course. Different layers to it. One, I'm super excited that I'm in a position to be able to provide student-centered coaching and support teachers in their instructional journey in a way that reduces the effective filter of worrying about evaluation. I say that because as an assistant principal, yes, we're in a position of evaluating teachers and navigating, the impact they're having with students. All of that diminishes significantly when you are intentional about building relationships with your teachers outside of even the coaching role, getting to know them, seeing their strengths inside the classroom, curiosities about where they want to take their learning, identifying how they're engaging with students inside that space, and getting to know them as just people and as just learners. That saves you a ton of trouble in trying to build the buy-in or overcoming any roadblocks they may have and this wall of, I don't want to be coached because I'm going to be evaluated. That's step one. Community building and rapport building is everything. And then when you're in a coaching cycle, as an assistant principal or administrator in general, you continue that rapport building and community building within your coaching cycle and build on what the teacher's currently doing that they feel really comfortable at and build on those strengths. It's all asset-based. And then you slowly start going, okay, here is a move to make, or here's a language to be able to support that practice and where you want to go with the student learning. And that pays dividends significantly. So then if there's ever a time and a need where you have to direct the teacher to the standard or the student outcome or the learning targets, or when you're looking at student work analysis and seeing where students are at, there is far less ego and far less personal worry of judgment. And it's literally just looking at where students are at currently in the cycle, the moves you're going to make to support student outcomes. And it no longer becomes or feels like my assistant principal's here because I'm doing something wrong and they're directing me in it. It's none of that. It's honestly more, the feedback that I've received is appreciation of the coaching. And there are moments where they actually acknowledge, I was really worried that you were coaching me because you're the AP and I was doing something wrong. But now I found, no, you actually did help me. And that is the reflection you want teachers to get out of it. Because once they feel that it supported their craft and supported their practice, titles don't matter as much. You become the thought partner for them and you become the guide, and it feels like you're actually coaching. And that's the view that I'm happy to say that I've been successful at thus far as an assistant principal in student-centered coaching, because the excitement that I had and the joy that I received out of student-centered coaching, I want my teachers to feel that too. And it starts with community building. Once you build that rapport, then you go through the steps of student-centered coaching, and it pays dividends. And ultimately, it's for students. It's for students. Do what you need to do to ensure that teachers feel empowered and excited about the work that you're doing, so then students learn and they grow. We want to take care of our students.